Amber just messaged me to say that practice was cancelled. Could you please go pick her up?
It might take me a little bit since I'm in a meeting with a new client. Can she wait 15 minutes?
I'm not really comfortable with her waiting alone at the school for that long.
Well, since school just got out, she should be able to catch the bus.
You know how she feels about riding the bus. Ever since the driver picked on her, she doesn't want to take it.
She was bullying one of the kids in her class.
That's not what she said. You shouldn't be taking the other kid's side.
I'm not trying to take a side, I just started my business, so I can't just drop things like I used to.
Family should be the most important thing in your life.
Your daughters have made it clear that I'm not their family. That was what we agreed to when we married.
They're kids. I'm sure they'll realize how much you do for them now.
I try, but I think you need to sit down and talk to her. Just because I work from home doesn't mean that I'm always available to drop things to take care of them, especially now that I'm pregnant.
Please just go get her. I'm sure you'll be fine without this new client.
He could tell that I was distracted, so he's asked to reschedule. I'll go get her, but you need to talk to her about taking the bus.
I don't want her to be uncomfortable because of what happened. She's a junior in high school. It's lame to ride the bus.
She's not going to learn if you don't start making sure she has consequences.
Your input is entirely out of line. I didn't ask you to criticize my parenting, I asked you to pick up Amber.
I'm heading out to do it, but I can't drop things for your daughters like this anymore. We agreed when I started my business that you would ensure that you step up and do more with them.
You're being totally unreasonable. I'm not asking you to raise my kids just to pick Amber up from school.
This is the 4th time in 6 days, Walter. Starting to cut into my work. I don't mind picking her up. I do mind having to drop everything just so she doesn't have to take the bus.
Fine, if it's such a problem, I won't ask you to do anything else for them ever again.
That's not what I'm saying, Walter, and you know it. I'm saying that you and your daughters can't expect me to keep dropping stuff for them when it isn't an emergency.
Keep being passive-aggressive like this and I might start to agree with them. You're nothing like their mother.
I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm leaving now, so I won't be able to text.
I'll let her know. Hey, Haley. Lori forgot her science fair project this morning. Could you take it to school for her?
Sorry, but no. I'm currently at a client's site.
So you're okay with my daughter getting a 0 for a grade?
If it is that important, you can go home and get it yourself. Right now, you're actually closer to home than I am.
But I make more money. I need to be here, working.
I'm sorry, but I can't do it now. I can swing by home when I finish in an hour.
This is unacceptable. When I let you start your own business, you said that you would continue to keep up your end.
You didn't let me start my business. This is what I was working toward when you met me. It was inevitable. And I said that I wouldn't allow for it to upset my regular tasks. I still cook the meals, clean the house, and help your daughters with their homework. What you keep asking me to do is to work around things that are unplanned. I helped her finish the project. You should have made sure that she brought it with her when you left this morning.
I am busy. And you knew that she had a project. You should have been more involved.
We can talk about this when you get home. For now, she can either wait or she can do without. Message me your decision. My client is ready for me now, so I have to go.
We will definitely talk about this when I get home. When you married me, you knew that my 2 daughters were the most important people in the world. Marrying you was supposed to help me better take care of them. Now you're making me feel like a failure. Haley, are you going to respond? Fine. Take the project to her school. She'll miss the presentation point since you're being so vindictive. But at least she'll have it before the end of the day. Where are you? Amber and Lori are waiting at the school.
Did you not listen to my message? I'm at the hospital, in labor. I started bleeding profusely, so they had to stabilize me.
What? Why didn't you tell me?
I did. You have so many messages. They said that there could be something wrong with the baby. I'm scared, and I wish you were here.
Really? Okay, I'll go get the girls. You just worry about you.
Oh, that's very generous of you. Seriously, though, I could really use someone here right now. My parents won't be here for another hour.
I'll be there as quickly as I can.
Okay, they're still moving around, but the doctor said I'm not ready yet. They're keeping an eye on me after what happened a few hours ago.
I get it. I'm heading out now to get the girls. Then we will head right over to the hospital.
Where are you? Walter, they're saying that I have to start. Oh, I hope you get here soon.
Where are you, Walter? My daughter has given birth to her son and you weren't even here. My daughters need a dinner. I couldn't just let them starve. There's a cafeteria here. Your wife just gave birth to your son and you're nowhere to be found. Haley has you. My daughters only have me. Your parents live closer than we do. Where are they? I didn't want to bother them because they're retired. They were so involved with my girls. I don't want them to think that I'm putting more pressure on them to take care of my son too. Do they know that she's having the baby? Yes, I told them. And when they expressed that they were busy, I let them know that they didn't have to come if they didn't feel up to the drive. You know what, Walter? You don't need to worry about coming to the hospital. My wife and I will take care of our daughter and grandchild. My daughters and I will be there after we finish eating. Don't you need to help them with their homework? And then there is bedtime. Oh, wow, you're right. I hadn't thought of that. I was thinking that Haley could handle that when she comes home, but there's no telling when that will be. She just gave birth to her first child. It will be 2 days from now. What? Is that something new? I remember my wife coming home the next day after Lori was born. How many days was she in the hospital after her first child? Do you mean Amber? You should know your granddaughter's name. I've only met her 3 times, and she's always made it clear that I'm not a part of her family. Unlike Haley, I don't have to put up with your spoiled children. How dare you say that about them? They're children, still learning. And they lost their mother 7 years ago. You're a horrible father-in-law and grandfather. If the man who didn't even show up for the birth of one of his children says that, I'll take it as a compliment. After all, you're making it very clear where your priorities are. I have to take care of my daughters. I won't apologize for that. No, that's perfectly fine. Go take care of your daughters and I'll take care of mine. I'm not going to engage with you any further. My daughters need me. Let Haley know I'll come by tomorrow if I have time. Oh, I'll let her know. Thanks. And tell her I love her. Where are you? I've come to the hospital and they said you were already discharged.
I've gone home.
When?
Yesterday.
Did you sleep in the baby's room?
The nursery isn't done yet. I didn't have time to finish putting the crib together.
Is it because you were working too much? Look, I know you want to have a career, but at this point I think you need to give it up. My daughters have been suffering ever since you opened your business.
No.
What do you mean, no? This is a discussion we need to have.
It's a decision you're trying to make and then force it on me. As you and your children have repeatedly made it clear, I am not their mother. I'm done doing all of the things that are expected of a mother without any of the benefits.
They made you that Mother's Day card.
No, that was for their dead mother.
Well, what did you expect? They made it clear since we started dating that you would never be their mother. You also agreed to help me with them.
That's exactly it. I agreed to help you with them. Ever since we married, I've ended up doing most of the parenting, but with none of the appreciation or attempts at making me feel like a part of the family.
You knew that you were never going to be a part of the family.
You promised that you would build a new family with me if I helped you with them. Instead, I feel more like your bang maid. At this point, I don't even have it in me to keep going.
What's that supposed to mean?
I have a new business and a new baby. I'm not gonna keep taking care of 2 spoiled brats and a thankless husband.
Wait, are you saying that you want a divorce?
For now, I'm happy with just a separation. My parents will help me with everything for now.
What about my daughters?
They still have you.
But I'm not able to drop everything and take care of them. I have work.
I'm just going to give you a moment to realize what you just said.
What do you mean? I'm busy at work.
I wonder how long it will take for you to put things together.
You are my wife. You need to come home and help me take care of Amber and Lori.
Do you feel like you may be forgetting a few things?
I know that you are. You never liked my children, but I still gave you a chance. And this is how you thank me?
Wow, okay. This is definitely taking an unexpected turn. Then again, you really haven't been present for the last few months. At least not when I needed you. Good to know that you love your daughters enough to take care of them.
Of course I love them. When their mother died, I was devastated. I never thought I would fall in love again. Now you're showing me that it was a mistake to try.
Well, we're both learning a lot from this. Anyway, I won't be back for at least a month, if not longer.
How am I supposed to take care of my daughters? What am I supposed to tell them?
Tell them they won. Now I've been kicked out of their lives so they can have you all to themselves.
That is not fair. They're children. You're supposed to be an adult.
Amber will be an adult next year. And my problem isn't so much with your spoiled girls, but the way you've been treating me.
I haven't changed a thing.
If you had treated me like this 3 years ago when you proposed, I would have said no. If you would have revealed this side of yourself before our marriage 2.5 years ago, I would have called it off. I knew that your daughters didn't want a mother, but I thought you wanted a wife.
I did. I do.
No, you want a nanny who puts your children first. Then you want a maid to take care of the house. Finally, you want someone warming your bed. You don't need me for any of this.
You said you loved me.
I do love you, but it's become pretty clear you don't feel the same way.
What? Of course I love you. That's why I married you.
That's only the second time you've said that to me this year. But you tell the girls you love them every day.
Of course, they're just kids. They need reassurance. You've become difficult, whiny, and obstinate. Work is the most important thing to you, and you ignore family for your clients. That is not what I wanted when I married you.
Then I guess neither of us ended up with what we wanted. I'm good with a divorce if you aren't happy with me.
Oh, so you're pulling that card out. Well, we'll see how long you last. It's not like you're stable with your own business. You'll be crawling back to me soon enough. Then we'll lay down some serious rules.
Sure, you tell yourself whatever you have to.
You're gonna regret those words. I may not take you back if you keep this up. Please come home. I can't be a single father again.
Oh, hi, Walter. I had pretty much forgotten about you. Does that mean you got the divorce papers?
What? You can't be serious. What about me and my children? Do you not care?
If you mean what about you and the girls, I wish you a good life, but I won't be a part of it anymore. I've never felt like a member of your family, so I don't think that I'll be missed.
Of course we miss you. Amber has the SAT coming up, and she really needs help studying.
There are classes for that.
But you're so good at it. And it doesn't cost anything when you help the girls.
Well, I'm willing to help her, but my rate is $100 an hour.
What? That is ridiculous!
I do have a few lower rates, but you don't qualify for those. Also, I already know how she'll treat me during the study session. She doesn't learn easily, and since she doesn't respect me, I'll have to put up with a lot of inappropriate attitude.
She's just a kid. As the adult, you should be teaching her to do better. To be better.
No, you made sure I couldn't. Remember, I'm not their mother. I was never allowed to discipline them, correct them, or instruct them in life. Now I'll only do it if I'm being compensated for it.
We are married. You can't charge me for doing the things you agreed to do when we married.
Well, you failed to follow through with your vows, so I don't see why I should keep up mine. That's why I started the divorce proceedings. Oh, and I did realize that I should thank you.
What? That's sending some mixed signals.
Not at all. All of the red flags were there prior to the wedding, and I guess I ignored them. I won't be doing that again. So thank you for teaching me a few important lessons. Also, the way you've treated me recently made it easy to get full custody.
Full custody? You can't take my girls away from me. I will never agree to that. They hate you. I should have listened to them when they said they couldn't stand you. They were absolutely right.
I don't want your daughters, Walter. I mean Dylan.
Dylan? Who's Dylan? Is that a boyfriend? Have you been cheating this whole time? Is that why you want the divorce?
Do you not remember? You never came to the hospital. Did you forget?
You were in the hospital? Why were you in the hospital? You can't expect me to know that if you haven't been talking to me.
Think really, really hard about what I looked like a couple of months ago.
The same as when I married you? Well, not exactly. You were a bit frumpier, but I tried to love you anyway.
I would say that I was about 60 pounds heavier.
Are you saying that you've been working out since then? I mean, I noticed you were getting a bit chunky, but I wasn't gonna be mean about it.
Wow, okay, you really did forget. Well, don't worry. I'm not gonna ask you for any money. Not for alimony or for child support. I figure you'll have your hands full with those girls.
You aren't making any sense. You'll never get custody of my girls.
Don't worry. I'll make sure Dylan ends up having a decent father. I'm not gonna allow him to feel that he's forgettable.
What are you even talking about?
And I guess thank you again. This exchange should be even more helpful if the judge tries to say there are issues with me having custody of Dylan. From here on out, you can talk to my lawyer.
Are you having a stroke or something, Haley? This whole conversation just feels so off. Fine, I guess I wouldn't bother worrying about you. I never should have married you. Everything is about you, and you don't care at all about me and my daughters. You have to let me see my son, Haley. I've never had a chance to see him, and that's just not fair. And my daughters should get a chance to get to know their brother.
You had so many chances, but you clearly never cared about Dylan. You didn't even remember him the last few times you texted me. You didn't even bother to show up to the hospital when he was born.
I had to take care of my daughters.
Your parents could have done that. Instead, they were more interested in staying home. None of you cared that I was in the hospital giving birth to my son. So from here on, you don't need to worry about either of us.
That is not fair. You didn't bother to come home from the hospital.
Did you ever finish making the crib?
I never had time. I have 2 girls to raise. 2 beautiful girls who you deserted.
You deserted me and my son. You never came to visit us in the hospital. And you didn't even remember that I was pregnant.
I'm sorry, but you know how busy I've been. You can't expect me to remember every little thing.
Oh, so I shouldn't expect you to remember Dylan? It's a good thing that I have full custody and supervised visits. And thank you for making that possible by proving you didn't think of him at all.
That was so low for you to use our texts in court. Between work and raising 2 girls, I'm overwhelmed.
Well, if you hadn't spoiled Amber, she could have driven your wife's old car. But since you insisted on being the one to teach her to drive, and she didn't learn well, she still hasn't passed her driving test.
Driving is so dangerous. I'm glad she hasn't managed to pass the test because I don't want her getting into an accident.
Well, if she could drive, she could have taken herself home instead of constantly making me go pick her up. And since she's almost an adult, she could have taken care of Lori.
I don't want them to think that I put the new baby over them. They have been so worried about that.
I thought you said that they were eager to bond with their brother.
They are, but I also want them to feel that they're still my priority.
Over my son.
I didn't say that.
No, you've repeatedly proven that my son isn't a priority at all, to the point that you forgot he existed. Which I find funny since we still have the unfinished nursery.
Amber turned that room into her study room.
Really? I'm so shocked.
Well, you never came back, so why shouldn't she make that room her own?
When did she take over the room?
A couple of days after you went to the hospital. That's why I forgot about you giving birth.
Ah, well, it sounds like she's really missing out on meeting her brother.
She will learn to love him. I know it. She just needs a chance.
No. The horrible things she said to me when I was pregnant, she didn't want the baby.
What? She told me she was excited about having a brother.
And she's so honest, isn't she? I told you what she used to say to me, but you always made excuses for her. This time, I'm just gonna block you. You can work with my lawyer for visitation. In the meantime, I have a family to love. It wasn't the way I wanted my son to start life, but after the hospital, I realized that they were never going to treat me like family. I didn't want that for my child. My parents were a huge help, which was fantastic as my business really took off. Since the divorce was finalized before that happened, and I started the business with my own savings, my ex had no claim to the fortune I managed to earn within 10 years. Walter ended up never having time to visit Dylan, which was also sad but not unexpected. He had already proved where his priorities lay, and it was never with me and my child. Amber ended up flunking out of high school, mostly because I was the one who tracked her grades. Not that my contribution was recognized at the time. She ended up with a boyfriend that my ex loathes. And I heard that she keeps moving back and forth between his house and with her boyfriend to teach her father that he can't control her. Lori hasn't fared much better. She started getting drunk regularly, and he had to put her in several schools before sending her to a special school for troubled teens. They both were bitter toward him. I believe because he married me, then I left. They never recognized their own role in making life there untenable for me. I hope they pull themselves together eventually, but I couldn't stand being responsible for so much with no say over anything. One of my first clients ended up admitting he had a crush on me about a year after my divorce. At first, I was hesitant to get into a relationship, especially since I was worried about how it might affect my son. He was patient and kind, never pushing for more than I was willing to give. We married a few years later, and now we're expecting our first child together. Best of all, Dylan absolutely adores him.